make this quick as possible. Welcome to the Laramie Project. My name is Pelky. I am the director of the show, which also happens to be my senior project. So I just want to thank you all for being here and welcome you. Just a couple announcements before we get started. There's a change in your programs. The role of Rebecca Hilliker will now be played by Chastity LaFrancois, and the role of the narrator will be played by Caitlin Marvin. Also, I have to say this, there is an explicit language warning. The content is very heavy, so we expect there to be some language. If this offends you, we understand and will not be upset if you choose to. So that's just saying that. A couple other things, just rules and all exits are located to the back and to my left, your right. There will be 2 intermissions this evening, one 15-minute intermission after the first act, and one 10-minute intermission after the second act. At that time, please feel free to go out, stop by our concession stand. Please stop by our GSA table. They have been a wonderful partner in this project. I couldn't have done a lot without them, so can we give them a round of applause? That lovely fence out there, please check that out. It's very important to this show, so I'll let you figure out what that is. There's a couple people I would like to thank before, just really quickly. I'd like to thank Ms. Gartman. She's back there. In this auditorium every day, and she helped us paint that set yesterday, and she's just been absolutely wonderful, so we want to thank her. I want to thank Ms. Block. She's the advisor for the GSA. And I'd like to thank my mom and my dad. My mom created those wonderful programs you have, and my dad built the set. So I couldn't do this show without her. She has been my saving grace. She has fought for this show, which I couldn't be more thankful for, and I couldn't have done it without her. So I'd like to give one big round of applause to my advisor, Mrs. Geary. I think that's about it. So without further ado, please enjoy the Laramie Project.
Of the Tectonic Theater Project traveled to Laramie, Wyoming, and conducted interviews with the people of the town. During the next year, we would return to Laramie several times and conduct over 200 interviews. The play you're about to see is edited from those interviews, as well as journal entries from members of the company and other found texts. Company member Greg Perotti.
My first interview was with Detective Sergeant Hing of the Laramie Police Department. At the beginning of the interview, he was sitting behind his desk, sitting something like this. I was born and raised here. My family is 3rd generation. My grandparents moved here in the early 1900s. You know, and my daughter is 4th generation. It's good people, lots of space. Now the towns in southern Wyoming are spaced far apart because of the railroad that came through. It was about how far they had to go before they had to refuel and rewater, and Laramie was just a major stopping point. That's why the towns are spaced so far apart. We're one of the largest states in the country and the least populated.
There's so much space between people and towns here, so much time for reflection.
Rebecca Hilliker, head of the theater department at the University of Wyoming.
You have an opportunity to be happy in your life here. I found that people here were much nicer than they were in the Midwest, where I used to teach, because they were happy. They were glad that the sun was shining, and it shines a lot here.
Now, what you have your traditional class ranchers. They've been in Laramie forever. It's always been a supply, like a hub where they get the supplies and things like that.
Stewardship is one thing all our ancestors taught us.
a lean engine rancher.
If you don't take care of your land, then you ruin it and you lose your living. So that's why you have to take care of your land and do everything you can to improve it.
I love it here.
Doc O'Connor, limousine driver.
You know, you couldn't put me in that mess out there back east. Best thing about it is the climate. The cold, the wind. They say the Wyoming wind will drive a man insane. But you know what? It don't bother me. Well, I mean, some of the times it bothers me, but most of the time it doesn't.
And then you got the university population.
I moved here after living in a couple of big cities.
Phil Du Bois, president of the University of Wyoming.
I loved it there. But you'd have to be out of your mind to let your kids out after dark. And here, in the summertime, I let my kids play out till past 11, and I don't think twice about it.
And then you got the people that live in Laramie, basically.
I moved here from rural Texas.
Zachy Salmon, Laramie resident.
Now, in Laramie, if you don't know, I'd like to go to the grocery store, maybe 4, 5, 6 people. You don't really mind people knowing your business here, because, well, it's my business. I mean, my business is basically good.
I like the trains, too. You know, they don't bother me. Well, I mean, some of the times they bother me, but most of the time they don't. And the one goes by every 13 minutes out where I live.
Doc actually lives up in Bossler, but everybody in Laramie basically knows him. He's also not really a doctor.
They used to carry cattle, them trains. Now all they carry is diapers and cars.
I grew up in Cody, Wyoming.
April Silva, university student.
Laramie's better than where I grew up. I'll give it that.
It's got good people. Now, when the incident happened with that boy, a lot of press-type people came here. One of them even followed me on the crime scene. Oh, and well, it was a beautiful day, absolutely gorgeous day. You know, the sky was shining that blue that you just can't necessarily paint. It's just gorgeous. And the mountains with just a little bit of snow on them. And this one reporter-type lady person, she came up to me and she said,
"Well, who found the boy? Who was out here anyway?"
And I said, well, you know, mountain biking, it's real big out here. And horseback riding, it's real close to town. And she looked at me and she said,
"Who in the hell would want to run out here?"
and I'm thinking, lady, you're just missing the point. You know, all you gotta do is just stop and really take in what's around, you know? See the birds, smell the roses, and they were just nothing but the story. I mean, I didn't feel misjudged, mind you. I just felt that they were stupid. They were missing the point. They were missing the whole point.
It's hard to talk about Laramie now, what Laramie is for us.
Jedediah Schultz.
If you'd asked me before, I would have told you Laramie's a beautiful town. Secluded enough that you have your own identity. Everyone knows everyone. Now, after Matthew, I would say we're defined by an accident, a crime. We become Waco. We become Jasper. We're a noun, a definition, a sign. We'll be able to shake it, but it'll for sure take a while.
Journal entries. Members of the company, Andy Paris.
Moises called us saying he had an idea for his next theater project. There was a certain somberness to his voice, so I asked him what it was all about, and he told me he wanted to do a piece on what was happening in Wyoming.
Stephen Belber.
Lee told me the company was thinking of going out to Laramie and that they wanted me to come. But I'm hesitant. I have no real interest in prying into a town's unraveling.
Amanda Grounage.
I've never done anything like this in my life. How do you get people to talk to you? What do you ask?
Moises Kaufman.
The company has agreed that we should go to Laramie for a week and interview people. I'm a bit nervous about taking 10 people on a trip of this nature. Let's make some safety rules. Nobody works alone. Everyone carries cell phones. I've made preliminary contacts with Rebecca Hilliker, head of the theater department at the University of Wyoming. She's hosting a party for us and has agreed to introduce us to potential interviewees.
I must say that when I first heard that you were thinking of coming here and when you first called me, I wanted to say, you just kicked me in the stomach. Why did you do this to me? But then I thought, that's stupid. You didn't do this to me. And then I thought some more, and I've decided we put such negative closure on this whole thing. My students needed to talk, and because of this, they started to. And then the media descended in on it, and all dialogue stopped. You know, I really do love my students because they are such free thinkers. You may not like what they have to say, or you may not agree with their opinion because it can sound a little redneck at times, but they're honest and they're truthful. It's such a different dynamic than what I had back in the Midwest or North Dakota where I used to teach, because there was so much Puritanism. Their thoughts were shaped by the world, and they didn't have any opinions for themselves. And quite honestly, I would rather have an opinion that I don't like and have that type of dynamic in education. There's a student I think you should talk to. His name is Jedediah Schultz.
I've been in Wyoming my whole life. Well, the family's been in Wyoming, well, for generations. Now, when it came time to go to college, my parents couldn't afford to send me to college. I wanted to study theater, and I knew that if I was going to go to college, I was going to have to get on a scholarship. So they have this competition, this Wyoming State High School competition. And I knew that if I didn't take first place in duets, that I wasn't going to go to college. So I went to my professor and I was like, I need a killer scene. And so he goes, here you go, this is it. And it was a scene from Angels in America. Now, naturally, when the time came to do the show, I went and told my parents about it. Now, you need to understand, my parents have been to everything. Every sports game, everything I've ever done. They pulled me into their room and told me that if I did that scene, that they wouldn't come to see me in the competition. Because they believe it's wrong, that homosexuality is wrong. I had never gone against my parents' wishes before, and I didn't know what to do. But I went along and did the performance anyway. And so after we finished, me and my stage partner, we stood up and we shook hands, and there was a standing ovation. God, it was amazing. We took first place, and that's why I can afford to be here at this college, because of that scene. It was the most important moment in my life. And my parents weren't there to see it. To this day, it's still the only thing my parents haven't seen me in. Now, I always ask myself, why did I do it? Why did I oppose my parents? Because I'm not gay, so why did I do it? And I guess the only honest answer I could give is, I wanted to win. It was such a good scene. It was like the best scene. You know Mr. Kushner? Maybe he could tell you.
Greg Karate.
We arrived today at the Denver airport and drove out to Laramie. And on the way in, I swear I saw a herd of buffalo. Also, I thought it was weird that the Wyoming sign went and said, Wyoming like no place on earth, instead of Wyoming like no place else on earth.
Company member Lee Fondakowski.
We stopped at a local inn for a bite to eat, and my waitress said to me,
Hi, my name is Debbie. I was born in 1955, and Debbie Reynolds was big then, so yes, there are a lot of us around. But I promise I won't slap you if you leave your elbows on the table.
Today, Lee tried to explain to me, to no avail, what chicken fried steak was.
Now, are you from Wyoming, or are you just passing through?
oh, we're just passing through.
Company member Barbara Pitts. We arrived in Laramie tonight, just past the Welcome to Laramie sign, population 26,687. The first thing to greet us was Walmart. In the dark, we could be on any main drag in America. Fast food chains, gas stations. But as we drove into the downtown area by the railroad tracks, the buildings still looked like a turn-of-the-century western town. Oh, and as we drove into the downtown area where amenities such as heated pool or cable TV are normally touted, it said hate is not a Laramie value.
I met today with two longtime Laramie residents, Allison Mears and Marge Murray, two social service workers that could teach me a thing or two.
Well, what Laramie used to be like when Mark was growing up, well, it was mostly rural.
I enjoyed it though. You know, my kids, they all had horses.
Well, there was more land. I mean, you could keep your pet cow, your horse, your little chickens, you know, just have your little bit of acreage.
I could run around the house all day in my all-togethers, do the housework while the kids were at school, and nobody could see me. And, well, if they got that close.
Well, then that's their problem.
I want to make sure I got this expression right. In your all-togethers.
Well, yeah, honey. While we're clothes.
Yeah, well, how's he going to use that in his play?
Right. So, was this a big ranching town?
Oh, not just ranching. This is a big railroad town at one time before they moved everything to Cheyenne and Green River and Omaha. So now, well, it's just a drive-through spot for the railroad. Because, what was it, even in the 50s? Well, they had one big roundhouse and they had such a shop they could build a complete engine.
They did. My mama worked there.
Your mom worked in a roundhouse?
Yep. Her name was Minnie. She washed engines. We used to sing that song for her. You know the song.
What song?
You know, the one that goes, run around the roundhouse, Minnie, they can't corner you
Oh, but I'll tell you, Wyoming is bad in terms of jobs. I mean, the university has a big high whoop-de-doo jobs or whatever, but in Laramie, if it weren't for the university, we'd just be SOL.
What's SOL?
Well, do I have to say it? Well, it's Oh, Marty, you got that on your tape? Boy, you are getting an education today.
Yeah, I guess I am. So, tell me this. What was your reaction when this happened to Matthew Shepard?
Well, I've been close enough to the case to know many of the people. I have a daughter on the sheriff's department. And well, as far as the gay issue goes, I don't give a damn one way or the other, so long as they don't bother me. And if they did, I'd just say no thank you. And that's pretty much the attitude of most of the Laramie population. I mean, they might poke one if they've been in a bad situation, you know they've been drinking. They might even smack one in the mouth, but then they just walk away. Most of them, they just say, I don't swing that way, and whistle on about their business. Laramie is live and let live.
I'd say that Marge probably knows a lot more, except she's even willing to say we have to respect her for that.
Yeah. So, where are you going with the story?
We still haven't decided yet. When we're finished, we're going to try and bring it around to Laramie.
Well then, there's parts I won't tell you.
Today, for the first time, I met somebody who actually knew Matthew Shepard. Trish Dager, who had a local shop in town referred to him as Matt.
Matt used to come into my shop. That's how I knew him.
It was the first time I heard him referred to as Matt instead of Matthew. Did he go by Matt to everyone?
Well, on the 2nd of October, I get a phone call about 10 after 7.
Doc O'Connor.
It was Matthew Shepard, and he said, can you pick me up at the corner of 3rd and Grand? So, anyhow, I pull up to the corner to see who Matthew Shepard, you know, it's a little guy, about 5'2", soaking wet. I bet you 97 pounds tops. They say he weighed 110, but I wouldn't believe it. They also said he was 5'5" in the newspapers. This man, he was really only about 5'2", maybe 5'1". So he walks up to the window, and I'm going to try and go in steps here so you can better understand the principle of this man. He walks up to the window, and I say, are you Matthew Shepard? And he's like, yeah, I'm Matthew Shepard, but I don't want you to call me Matthew or Mr. Shepard. I don't want you to call me anything. My name is Matt, and I want you to know I am gay. We're going to go to a gay bar. Do you have a problem with that? And I said, how do you pay it? The fact is, Laramie doesn't have any gay bars, and for that matter, neither does Wyoming. So he was hiring me to take him to Fort Collins, Colorado, about an hour away. That was a blunt little shit. You know what I'm saying? But I liked him because he was straightforward. You see what I'm saying? Maybe gay, but straightforward. You see what I'm saying?
I don't know, you know. You should talk to my sister Romaine. She was a very close friend of Matthew's.
Oh, actually, most of the time we never really called him Matthew. We called him Choo-Choo, because, you know, we used to call him Matthew, and then we just called him Choo-Choo. And whenever I think of Matthew, I think of his incredible beaming smile. I mean, he'd walk in, he'd just, you know, he'd smile at everyone. It made me feel great. Oh, and he also wanted to sit the end seat, so he could talk to me while I was working. And he would stare down people in the coffee shop if they would stop. So if someone was sitting in a seat, he would just sit and stare at them until they left. And then he would claim stop. But Matthew also had a political side to him. I mean, that's really all his big interest was, political affairs. He was always watching CNN, MSNBC. That's all he really saw his into anyway. He was really smart on political affairs, but not really smart in common sense things. So we moved to Laramie to go to school.
Matthew was a bit shy when he first came in.
John Peacock, Matthew Shepard's academic advisor.
To the point of being somewhat mousy, I'd almost say. He was having difficulties adjusting, but this was home for him, and he made that quite clear. And so this mousiness, this shyness, gives way to a person who was really excited about the journey he was going to embark on. He was just figuring out getting to work on human rights, how he was going to do that. And when that happens, this person begins to shine a little bit. He started to say, wow, there are opportunities here. There are things I can do in this world. I can be important.
Actually, I did hear from Matthew about 48 hours before his attack. he said that he had joined the gay and lesbian group on campus, and that he was getting ready for Pride Week and whatnot. So he was so stoked about being at school. Yeah, he was really happy about being there.
And in retrospect, and I can only say this in retrospect, I think that's where he was headed, towards human rights. Which only adds to the irony and the tragedy of all this.
Let me tell you something else here. There's more gay people in Wyoming than meets the eye. I know for a fact. They're not particularly the what do you call them? The queens, the gay people, queens, run around faggot type people. No. They're the ones that throw bales of hay, jump on horses, brand them, and kick ass. You see what I'm saying? As I always say, don't screw with a Wyoming queer because they kick you in your damn ass. But that's not the point of what I'm trying to say, because I know a lot of gay people in Wyoming. I know a lot of people, period. I've been lived up here some 40-odd years. You see what I'm saying? And I don't think Wyoming people give a damn one way or another if you're gay or straight. That's just what I just said. Doesn't matter. If there's 8 men and 1 woman in a Wyoming bar, which is often the case, now you stop in there. Who's getting what? You see what I'm saying? Jeez, it don't take a big intelligent mind to figure that one out.
My understanding when I first came here
Catherine Connolly.
is that I was the first out gay or lesbian faculty member on campus. And that was in 1992, so that wasn't that long ago. I was asked in my interview what my husband did, and so I came out then. Do you want a funny story? When you first get here as a new faculty member, there's all these things you have to do. And so I was in my office, and I noticed that this woman called. I was expecting, it was a health insurance phone call, something like that. And so I called her back, and you could hear her. She's working on her keyboard, clicking away. And I said, hello, this is Kathy Connolly, returning your call. And she just stopped and said, oh, it's you. And I thought, man, this is bizarre. And she said, I hear you're gay. I hear you are. And I was like, uh-huh. And she said, I hear you came as a couple. I'm one too. Not a couple, just a person. And so she was this kind of lesbian who knew I was coming and wanted to meet with me immediately. And she later told me that she knew of other lesbians who wouldn't be seen with me. That just to be seen with me would be a problem. That I would irreparably take them.
When I first came here, I knew it would be hard as a gay man.
Jonas Sloaner.
But I kept on telling myself, people should live where they want to live. And there were times I would go down to Denver to a gay bar, and I would meet some men there, and they would ask, where are you from? And of course I'd say, Laramie, Wyoming. And because of that, I met a lot of gay men from Wyoming. Because of that, I also met a lot of gay men from Laramie. And most of them were like, you live in Laramie? How could you live in a place like that? I would get out if I were you. But there would always be this one guy who was like, you live in Laramie? I love it there. I wish I could live there. And I'm like, listen, if that's what you want to do, if that's where you want to go right ahead. Can't stop you. I mean, imagine if more gay people lived in smaller states, but that's easier said than done.
Today, we're moving from our motel and headed for the Best Western.
Moises Kaufman.
My hope is that it's a better Western.
Amanda Gronage.
Today we divided up to go to different churches in the community. Moises and I were given a Baptist church. We were welcomed into the services by the Reverend himself standing at the entrance of the chapel. Here is what I remember of his sermon that morning.
My dear brothers and sisters, I have come to you today to bring you the word of the Lord. I have a simple truth that I tell to my colleagues. I'm going to tell it to you today. The word is either sufficient or it is not. The scientists tell me that human history, that the world is either 5 billion or 6 billion years old. What's a few billion years, give or take? The Bible tells me that human history is 6,000 years old. The word is either sufficient or it is not.
The sociology of religion in the West.
Stephen Meade Johnson, Unitarian minister.
Popular religious traditions in this town. Baptist, Mormon. It's not just Salt Lake, they're everywhere down here. They're like jam on toast down here.
The Mormon Church has a little different thing going on that irritates some folks.
Doug Laws, State Ecclesiastical Leader for the Mormon Church.
And that is the fact that we absolutely believe that God still speaks to man. We don't think it happened and some folks wrote about it in the Bible. God speaks to us today, and we believe that. We believe the prophet of the church has the authority to receive inspiration and revelation from God.
So the spectrum would be on the left, far left. So far left that I'm probably standing by myself is me and the Unitarian Church. We're by and large humanists, many of us atheists. We're not even really sure we're a religion. And then to my right, to his credit, Father Roger, Catholic priest, is well established here. And God bless him, he did not equivocate at all when this happened. He hosted the vigil for Matthew that night.
I was really jolted, because when we did the vigil, we wanted to get other ministers involved. And they were totally not going to get involved. They were like, we're just going to sit here and see which way the wind is blowing. And that angered me immensely. We're supposed to stand out as leaders. I thought, what's going on here?
God has set boundaries, and one of our responsibilities is to learn what is it that God wants. So you study Scripture, you look to your leaders, then you kind of know what the bounds are. Now once you kind of know what the bounds are, then you sort of get a feel for what's out of bounds. There's a proclamation that came out on the family. A family is defined as one woman, one man, and children. That's a family. That's about as clear as you can state it. There's no sexual deviation in the Mormon Church. No leniency. We just think it's out of bounds.
I warn you, you will be mocked. You will be ridiculed for the singularity of your faith. But if you let the Bible be your guide, it's in there. It's all in there.
Christians, many of the conservative ones, were silent on this. Many Christians will point the world to the Bible and say, well, it says here in the Bible. And many Americans, and they do, believe that the Bible is the Word of God. And how are you going to fight that?
I'm a biblicist, which means the Bible doesn't need me to be true. The Bible is true whether I believe it or not. The Word is either sufficient or it is not.
September 15th, I moved to Laramie. I looked around, cement factories, tumbleweeds. I said to myself, what the hell am I doing in Wyoming? 3 weeks later, I found out what the hell I'm doing in Wyoming.
I had breakfast this morning with a university student named Zubaida Ullah. She is an Islamic feminist who likes to do things her own way.
I've lived in Laramie since I was 4. Yeah, my parents are from Bangladesh. 2 years ago, because I'm Muslim, I decided to start wearing a scarf. Now, that's really changed my life in Laramie, yeah. Like, people will come up to me and be like, why do you have that thing on your head? And it's like, when I'm grocery shopping, I'm not looking to give people Islam 101. You know what I mean? So I'll be like, well, it's part of my religion. And they'll be, this is the worst part, because they'd be like, well, I know it's part of your religion, but why? And it's, how am I supposed to get into the whole doctrine of physical modesty and my own spiritual relationship with the Lord, standing with my pop and chip? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, it's so unreal to me that group from New York were doing a play about Laramie. And then I was picturing, like, you're going to be in a play about my town. You're going to be on stage in New York, and you're going to be acting like you're us. That's so weird.
Hello? Oh, yes. Hello. I'm Amanda Gronich, and I'm here in Laramie working with the theater company. I went to the Reverend, your husband's church on Sunday, and I was wondering if I can talk to him about his thoughts on recent events.
Well, I don't think he'll want to speak with you. He has very biblical views about homosexuality. He doesn't condone that kind of violence. But he doesn't condone that kind of lifestyle, you know what I'm saying? And he was just bombarded with the press after this happened. And the media has just been terrible about this whole thing.
Oh, yes, I know. It must have been terrible.
Yes, I think we're all hoping this all just goes away.
Is there any way I could call back and speak with your husband just briefly?
Well, all right. You can call back tonight at 9.
Okay, thank you so much. I'll do that.
Fireside Bar, which is the last place that Matthew was seen in public.
The Fireside definitely feels like a college bar, with some pool tables and a stage area for karaoke. Still, the few regulars in the late afternoons were hardly the college crowd.
First person we talked to was Matt Nicholson, the owner.
My great-grandfather moved here in 1862. He founded the old Beachfront Opera. And then in 1870, Louisa Grandma Swing cast the first women's ballot in any free election. And that's why Wyoming is known as the equality state. So what I want to do is repurpose my bar as the old Bluefront in Good Times Emporium. You know, I want to do a restaurant, I want to have music, I want to do all this shit, you know? And so the old Bluefront Opera in Good Times Emporium is the first step towards accomplishing that.
So, what about the night Matthew Shepard was here?
We had karaoke that night. There were about 20 or 30 people in here. Matthew was standing, well, right where you're standing. But you'd have to ask Matt Galloway for more intricate details. He was bartending that night. Hey, is Galloway here tonight?
Okay, I'm gonna make this brief, quick. Get it over with, but it'll be everything. Factual, just the facts. Here we go. 10 o'clock, I clock in, usual time, Tuesday night. 10:30, Matthew Shepard shows up, alone, sits down, orders a Heineken.
Bill Labrie, friend of Matthew Shepard.
Matt would always drink Heineken and nothing else. A Heineken even though you have to pay like $9.50 for a six-pack. He'd always buy the same beer.
So, what can I tell you about Matt? If you had 100 customers just like him, it'd be the most perfect bar I've ever been in, okay? And nothing to do with sexual orientation, absolute mannerisms, manners, politeness, intelligence, taking care of me, as in tips, everything. Conversation, dress nice, clean cut, some people you just know. Sits down, please, thank you, offers intellect within their vocabulary. So he takes it there, didn't seem to have any worries or like he was looking for anybody, just enjoys drinking the company around. Now, approximately 11:45, 11:45, Aaron McKinney and Russell Henderson come in. I didn't know the names then, but they're the accused. They're the perps, they're the accused. They come in just very stone-faced, you know, dirty, grungy, rude, gimme, that type of thing. And they come in and they walked up to the bar and, as you know, paid for a pitcher with dimes and quarters. Which is something that, I mean, you don't forget that. $5.50 and dimes and quarters, that's a freaking nightmare. Now, Henderson and McKinney, they didn't seem intoxicated at all. They just came in, ordered a beer, brought the pitcher with them back there into the pool room, kept to themselves. Next thing I knew, probably half an hour later, they were kind of walking around, no beer. And I remember thinking to myself, you know, I'm not going to ask them if they want another one because obviously they just paid for a pitcher with dimes and quarters. I have a real good feeling they don't have any more money.
Romaine Patterson.
Money meant nothing to Matthew because he came from a lot of it. I mean, he'd like hand over his wallet in like 2 seconds because money meant nothing. His shoes might have meant something. They say it was robbery. I don't buy it for even an iota of a second.
Then a few moments later, I looked over and Aaron and Russell had been talking to Matthew Shepard.
Aaron said that a guy walked up to him and said that he was gay and wanted to get with Aaron Rice. Kristen Price, girlfriend of Aaron McKinney. He said that he told him he was straight and didn't want anything to do with him, and he walked off. He said that's when he and Russell went to the bathroom to pretend that they were gay and get him in the truck and rob him. They wanted to teach him a lesson not to come on the straight people.
Okay. No! They stated that Matt approached them and came onto them. I absolutely, positively disbelieve and refute this statement 100%. Refute it. I'm going to give you 2 reasons why. 1, character reference. Why would he approach them? Why them? He wasn't approaching anybody else in the bar. They say he's gay, he's a flaming gay. He's going to come on to people like that. Bullshit! He never came on to me. Hello? He came on to them. I don't believe it. 2, territorialism is word I would use for this, and that is the fact that Matt was sitting right there. Aaron and Russell were in the pool area. Upon their first interaction, they were in Matt's area, and the area Matt had been seen all night. So who approached who by that?
But Matthew was never really the type of person to not talk to anyone. Like, someone could walk up to him and he'd just be like, oh, blah, 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 blah. Like, he never really had a problem striking up a conversation with anybody.
Matt did feel lonely at times. Me knowing that, know how gullible Matt could be. He would have fallen right into it. The fact that he was there without a friend made him that much more vulnerable.
So the only thing is, and this is what I'm testifying to, basically, is, you know, I'm also the key eyewitness in this case. Basically what I'm testifying is that I saw Matthew leave. I saw two individuals leave with Matthew. I didn't see their faces, but I saw the back of their heads. At the same time, Henderson and McKinney were no longer around. You do the math.
Actually, I think the DJ was the last person who saw him out that night. Gave him a cigarette or something. His name is Shadow.
I was the last person that Matt talked to before he left the fireside. And I was just bullshitting around with my shit. And I stopped him, or he stopped me actually. And he was like, hey Shadow, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, hey man, you getting ready to leave? And he was like, yeah man, this and that. And then I noticed those two guys outside. They were looking at him, and he was looking back at them. And so I stayed and talked to Matt for a good 10 minutes. And then I looked back at those guys, and they were getting anxious to leave and shit. And so when they left, I seen it. They took off in a small black pickup truck. The three of them sat in the front with Matthew in the middle. And I didn't think nothing of it, you know. I didn't figure them guys was going to be like that.
A friend of Aaron McKinney.
Oh, I've known Aaron a long time. Aaron was a good kid. I liked Aaron a lot. That's why I was shocked when I heard about this. I'm like, I know he was. He was living out far. At his trailer house is what he told me with this girl. They just started dating last summer. They must have gotten pregnant as soon as they started dating, you know, because they had a kid. Aaron was only 21 years old and he was running around with a kid. You see, that's the kind of person Aaron was, just like he was always dressed in like big clothes, you know, like Tommy Hilfiger, Polo, Gucci. At the time I knew him, Aaron was just trying to, you know, he just wanted to get in, you know, acting tough, acting cool. But, you know, you could get in his face about it and he would back down like he was some kind of scared kid.
Sherry and Ensign. Russell was just so sweet. He was the one who was the Eagle Scout. I mean, his whole presence was just quiet and sweet. So, of course it doesn't make sense to me. And I know people snap and whatever, and it wasn't like a real intimate relationship. I was just his landlord. And we did work at the Chuck Wagon that one time too. And I remember, like at the Christmas party, he was just totally drunk and out of his mind. I mean, we all were, pretty much just party time. And you know, he wasn't belligerent, he didn't change. His personality didn't change. He was still the same little meek Russell. I remember him coming up to me and saying, when you get a chance, Sherry, can I have a dance? In which we never did get around to doing that. But now I just want to shake him, you know? What were you thinking? What in the hell were you thinking?
That's. I've been there 4 times. I've taken visitors. The place has become a pilgrimage site. I mean, clearly, it's a very personal experience to be up there. The view is it's just so stark and so empty. You can't help but think of Matthew stuck up there for 18 hours in nearly freezing temperatures. It's so isolated.